going to show you how to make the large bell from Kreative Kiwi, and for that I'm using a 4x4 hoop, wash away stabiliser, matching bobbin and threads for each colour, masking tape, my squizzers and my fabrics and batting cut to size. Hoop your wash away stabiliser and then pin around the edge. Take your pin, rest it on top of your inner hoop, push it through and back round again, and that will stop your stabiliser from being dragged down between the two hoop pieces. Load file A into your machine and then stitch round number 1, which is going to give you your batting placement outline. Start off with the backing, so turn your hoop over, place your fabric over the outline and tape it in place. Turn your hoop back, place your batting over the front outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure them. Trim away the excess batting. Place your front fabric over the top and tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 3 to attach it. Starting with the back of the hoop, you're going to trim away all the excess fabric, both back and front. Make sure you've got your matching bobbin and thread in your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 4, and that's going to do the satin stitching around the edge and the detail in the middle. Turn your hoop over and you're now going to free this piece from your hoop. Going to trim up along this edge here because that's going to be your join, and you want to trim it as close as possible to the stitching. We'll deal with the wash away stabiliser at the end. You can now put that piece aside. Load file B into your machine along with the top thread for your bell. Then you're going to hoop and pin your wash away stabiliser, and then you're going to stitch round number 1 that's going to give you your placement outline. Place your batting over the outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Cut away the excess batting from around the stitch line. Place your front fabric over the batting and then tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 3. Change your thread colour to whatever you want for the snowflake, and then stitch round number 4. Next is the decorative band, so change your thread to whatever colour you want for that, and then you're going to stitch round number 5. Change your thread to the colour that you want for the word Christmas, and then stitch round number 6. You're now going to add your backing fabric, so turn your hoop over and place your fabric over the outline and then tape it in place. Pop your hoop back in your machine and stitch round number 7. You're going to want to load your matching bobbin and thread for the bell before you stitch. You're now going to trim away the excess fabric from both the back and front of your hoop. So turn your hoop over . Making sure that you've got your matching bobbin and thread in your machine, you're now going to stitch round number 8, and that's going to do the satin stitching around this edge here. You're now going to free this from the hoop, so turn your hoop over and cut around the edge. You're now going to neaten up along this edge, because that's going to be our join. You can now set this piece aside for a minute. Load file C into your machine, and then you're going to hoop your wash away stabilizer once more. I'm recycling stabilizer here. If you want to see how I do it, I have made a video. Then you're going to stitch round number 1, which is going to give you your outline. Place your batting over the outline and then tape it in place. Pop it back into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Trim away your excess batting. Place your front fabric over your batting and tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 3 to secure it. Load whatever colour you want for the word merry into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 4. Load whichever colour you want for the decorative stitching on the bell, and then stitch round number 5. Load whatever colour you want for the quilting on the inner side of the bell, and then you're going to stitch round number 6. Load whatever colour you want for the ringer into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 7. Turn your hoop over and place your backing fabric over the outline, and then you're going to tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 8 to secure it. Trim up the excess fabric from both the front and back of your hoop. So turn your hoop over starting with the back. Make sure you've got your matching bobbin and thread for your bell in your machine, and you're now going to stitch round number 9, and that's going to zigzag along here, and then we're going to add the holly leaves afterwards. You're now going to add your holly leaves. You want to line this stitch line here up with this stitch line here. Now if you're not very good at joining, or you find it really difficult, you can stitch the next round, which will be round number 9, and that will zigzag the line for you. Then you can place this down over the top, tape it in place, and then stitch that round again, and that way you can see exactly where the edges are going to fall, and you can make sure that you've got your piece lined up exactly. So line it up, stitch line over stitch line, and then tape it in place. Pop it into your machine and stitch round number 9. Check your join, and if you're happy with it, then you can stitch round number 10, and that will carry on with the zigzagging until you come to join the next piece. If you're not, then unpick it, realign it, and stitch it again. You're now going to add your other bell, so you want to line this up here over this stitch line here, and it should naturally meet on the curve there, and then you're going to tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 11, and that's going to zigzag along the join. Check your join to make sure that it's lined up nicely. If it is, you can then stitch round number 12. If it isn't, unpick it and restitch round number 11. You're now going to free your work from your hoop. So turn your hoop over and trim away around the edge, taking care not to cut the stitching. You can now put that piece aside. Load file D into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 1, and that's going to give you your placement outline. If you're going to place a hanger on your bells, take a piece of ribbon or cord or whatever you're going to use, and you want to place it on the second bump of this top holly leaf here. So place it over and then tape it in place. Then you're going to place your batting over the top and tape that in place as well. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure them. Trim away the excess batting. You're now going to add your berry fabrics, so turn your hoop over, and with the right side of the fabric facing upwards, place it over the berries and then tape it in place. Turn your hoop back and do the same on the front. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 3 to secure them. We're now going to trim away some of the excess around the berries, so starting on the back, we're just going to cut away what covers the holly leaves. We're now going to place your leaf fabric over the outline, so once again starting with the back and taping it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 4 to secure it. You're now going to trim up all excess fabric from both back and front of your hoop. So starting with the back, turn your hoop over. Going to pop that back into your machine and stitch round number 5, and that's going to zigzag the raw edges of the holly leaves. We're now going to put the two pieces together. You want to align this area here with this area here, and make sure that you've got all your stitch lines sitting one on top of the other. So you're going to start off, the easiest thing to do is to line up the holly leaf first at the top here, and this time I'm going to pin it in place because I don't want it to move. Make sure you put your pins right out of the way of the stitch line. Now you may have to stretch this a little bit to get it into place properly. That's because when you take anything out of the hoop it relaxes, so it's quite normal. Once you're happy with the positioning, pop it into your hoop and stitch round number 6. Now it's going to zigzag along the line to join the two pieces together. If you're happy with your drawing, you're next going to stitch round number 7, and that's going to do the satin stitching around the edge of the leaves and also the detail, the veins in the leaves. Load a matching bobbin and thread into your machine for the berries, and then you're going to stitch the final satin stitch round, and that's round number 8. You can now free your work from your hoop, so turn your hoop over and taking care not to cut any stitching or your hoop off if you've got one, trim around the edge. We're now going to get rid of all the excess stabiliser with a cotton bud and some warm water. So dip your cotton bud into the water and just wipe it around the edge. that's your large bells completed. I hope you enjoyed this stitch along. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of new videos as they're published. Do pop along to Kreative Kiwi's Facebook group. There's lots of ideas and inspiration and help there for everybody. And thank you very much for joining me.